most Americans think that Indians lie a lot. Most PMs have pretty high credentialed backgrounds. I'm sorry, but if you haven't been going to tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 school, if you are stuck in tier 4, tier 5 school, you're probably screwed in terms of becoming a PM.
Most people also think PM, they also want to become PM because they don't want to do coding.
International student trying to get hired in the United States, or maybe you're a master's student now in the United States, right? They have a strong bias against you. Honestly, the niche that is growing the fastest is AI product management. And so most of you listening should be focused on AI product management.
Like, give me a masterclass on PM resume.
All right, here's your masterclass on the product management resume. The odds are stacked against you. Junior PM jobs in general are getting eviscerated. There are very, very few junior PM jobs available, entry-level PM jobs available, because there are thousands of laid off PMs.
Is AI going to take over PM's job?
Hell no. Most people take 11 plus interview processes before they get an offer. This strategy itself, I think, is worth thousands of dollars, and we've given it to you for free. Alexander Ring of Scale AI, $15 billion pay package, and he didn't even graduate college.
Akash, I am so excited. Finally, we've been talking for like almost, 6 months, maybe even longer. But saw you in the conference at Northeastern, and then now we are here. And I know everyone knows you for product. You're the product growth guy. But today we are going to take like one step back on how to become PM. But before even we do that, let's do a quick intro. Who are you and why should people even listen to you?
I started just like you guys, you know. I didn't have a computer science major even. I had some programming, and I became a PM. I got lucky enough to become a PM. And then over 16 years, I rose to become a VP of product. Now I'm making millions of dollars as a creator for product managers. And so now I get to talk to thousands of PMs all over the world about how they became PMs, how they level up. And so now that's my expertise. And what I'm really passionate about is helping people like you become a PM.
Love it. And of course, if people haven't watched or any of your podcast or read your newsletter, they should. So I'll put the links in the description for people to go check it out. I personally watch it because I'm a senior PM as well, and they are extremely valuable because you cover everything from interviewing to strategy to AI PM is like now a thing now. So we will get into that as well. So yeah, people should check it out if they are already not watching it. But I'm going to play a role of my audience who is international. This is for you as a context. Like, imagine you are my chat GPT and I'm giving you context. I am international student who is pursuing masters or who's planning to pursue my masters in United States. I am really fascinated by this product management career. I've heard about it. I saw Akash's podcast. I saw Yudi's podcast, and I'm like, I really want to be product manager. How do I start? Where do I start? Like, it's so overwhelming to me.
Yeah, I think that that's actually the biggest problem is there are 1,000 people telling you different things to do. So what I want you to do right now is just decide, okay, I'm going to follow one plan and I'm going to follow it for a month or two. And here's kind of the 7-step plan I would recommend for you, but edit this for your own, who knows, put it into ChatGPT and edit it for yourself, whatever you want to do. But here's step number 1, right? Get your brain wired with the right content diet. And what I say is, you need to work out every day, right? Work out to some product management podcasts. We have to acknowledge the legend, Lenny Rachitsky. The other legend, Marty Kagan, has his Product Thinking with Christian Idioti podcast. Both of those are excellent. We have Brian Balfour of Reforge creating unsolicited feedback. We have Yudi. We have Akash. We have 5+ amazing PM podcasts out there. There's your 5 workouts a week. Get your LinkedIn to give you good content. And you know what? Everybody's LinkedIn algorithm sucks. 99% of people, I ask them to open their LinkedIn app and they're not getting good content. Then I show them my app and they say, what? I didn't even know such good content was on LinkedIn. How do you do that? You like and comment on highly educational content. that is really good about product management. And then LinkedIn will show you more of it. Most of you guys are scared to like, most of you guys are even more scared to comment, let alone not do an AI comment. Please never do an AI comment ever in your
Yeah.
entire life.
Yeah.
Write up your own thoughts. Do 50% less comments, but give twice the quality, right?
Mm.
And then your LinkedIn algorithm and your podcast. These two alone will give you a lot. The third thing is your email inbox, right? Subscribe to some amazing newsletters. The same podcasters have newsletters. I also would throw out a couple other newsletters I really like. Pavel Hearn's The Product
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Compass.
Yep.
Nate Jones is AI News and Strategy Daily. These are also two very good newsletters. So now you're reading, you're listening, you're watching. All of your time you're creating the step one. Your brain is getting the right input. Our brain is like a ChatGPT. We need the right inputs in order to create the right outputs, right? So step two.
And before you go to step two,
Yeah.
is the reason for this content diet is to really put our brain into framework of like how do PM work and what do PM do, etc.
Exactly. And is PM even right for me?
Yeah.
One of the things you'll learn about this is that, first of all, most PMs are working 50 plus hours a week. Second of all, most PMs have pretty high credentialed backgrounds. I'm sorry, but if you haven't been going to tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 school, if you are stuck in tier 4, tier 5 school, you're probably screwed in terms of becoming a PM, right? And so understanding whether you should be a PM, that's going to help you. And then number two, what I find is that a lot of people, once they crack getting interviews, they are very shy, lacking product knowledge, lacking latest product thinking in the interview itself. But the people who are obsessed with PM content, they do very, very well in the interview. And then the final thing is that most of this learning content actually makes you better on the job. What I found is that when I had my own PMs who I was hiring as a VP of product, I would ask them, what newsletters do you subscribe to? What podcasts? Because I had hired some people who didn't subscribe to PM podcasts. They didn't know the latest PM trends.
Yeah.
There are still PMs out there who don't know about AI prototyping. But if you had subscribed to all that content I just showed you about, there's no way you couldn't have known because we've all been talking about it for the last 9 months. So those are the major 3 reasons.
Awesome. Cool. So first step is to get really good understanding of what PM is, etc. So let's move to your step 2 in the 7th step.
All right. Step number 2 is to build out your ecosystem of partners who are going to help you get this product management job. You need to make a public commitment. I recommend making a LinkedIn post and a Facebook post and an Instagram post. I am going to become a product manager in the next year, right? You tell that out to your people. You draw in organically the people within your own life who are also interested in product management. You set up, hey, we're going to be accountability buddies. Every month we're going to check in, and we're not just going to drink some beers. We're also going to talk about how progress is going towards becoming a product management. Every week you'll have some buddies who you're doing some mock interviews with. Every month and every day you should have some buddies who you're texting. Oh my God, did you know there's this new product management creator, Ron Yang? He's amazing. We should all follow him. Or oh my God, you might have missed Pavel's latest piece on AI PM roadmap learning V2.0. It's even better than V1.0. Check it out. It's the Mr. Beast style. Mr. Beast, he said for years, instead of actually going to his classes in school, he was in text group chats with his friends about YouTube. It's the same thing about product management.
So create your tribe, basically.
Yes, create public accountability and groups of people who are going to help you along your way. Don't do it alone.
Love it. I love it. Okay. Let's go to step 3. I probably have
right.
more questions, but I'll ask you for wait until step 3.
Step 3. All right. Step 3 is to figure out the gaps in your background. So what you need to do is you need to realize that, especially if you're a master's student, international student trying to get hired in the United States, or maybe you're a master's student now in the United States, right? They have a strong bias against you. I'm so sorry. They don't. If you've seen any of other Yudi's videos, though, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to sponsor you. They don't want to pay that extra money. They just want to find some U.S. citizen. So You need to have an exceptional unicorn background.
Mm,
And so you need to think about the holy trifecta, okay? What is the trifecta that I call this? Number one, technical expertise.
mm,
You need to learn how to program. And with vibe coding tools like Windsurf and Cursor, it's never been easier. You
mm,
need to have a GitHub full of things. You need to have a PM portfolio full of side projects. You need to understand, hey, if we're going to build a feature in a product, what does that really mean? What does it really
mm,
mean to code a feature? What design elements would I actually need to ship a feature to production? How
mm,
would this all work together? What would be the elements that might actually drive growth in a product? You're going to do that by building products, right? This is
mm,
step one of the trifecta of a unicorn profile to break through the noise.
mm,
Step two of your unicorn profile is you need to do some product management experience.
mm,
And so what you need to do is ideally paid. In this modern world, we want paid internships or paid part-time jobs or paid subcontract work.
yeah.
But again, with your visa issues, especially if you are in the US already, maybe you can't get paid. Maybe there are some limiters for you, some blockers. Do it free.
Mm,
And most people say, in 2025, free work, Akash. You're a boomer. You're a millennial. Yes, I am in my 30s, but here's the thing, okay? You need that product manager experience block on your resume at the very,
mm,
very top of your resume to break through. Because again, we're talking about the unicorn profile to
mm,
break through these barriers
mm,
that you are facing. So
mm,
you need to make sure that you have that product management experience. And some people say, oh gosh, I can't even find a free job. Yes, you can. Go
mm.
to the local co-working space and sit there every day. Just eat lunch there.
Oh,
Sit next to somebody
interesting.
every single day. You will
Yeah.
find 30 plus startups there. And you should do free product management consulting for one of those guys who you make your friend or gals. And
Mm,
so you need to get that product management experience, right? And then the
mm,
third thing is you need to holistically look at your own profile and say, what am I missing?
mm,
Right? Because there are going to be some things that you are missing. Maybe you don't have the top schools. Maybe
mm,
you don't have the business understanding. Maybe you are scared of talking to users. Maybe you don't have the design sense. This third bucket I purposefully leave vague, but
mhm,
what I would say is you need to be a superstar in one area. So
mm,
maybe you have an undergraduate degree in business, or maybe you have a major in product design or in
mm,
design, or you've been to design school, or you are extremely trained in interviewing customers, right? And so your unicorn profile, these are the three key elements of your unicorn profile. And so what you need to do is you need to say, okay, this is my 1 year plan. What do I
mm,
need to do? Do I need to go try a new master's, new major, different program, different classes, audit different classes, go work with certain startups, go learn certain coding skills, and you need to carve out the time in your life, which often
mm,
means potentially less schoolwork or less work at work in
mm.
order to do those.
Yeah. Love it. Before we dive into all the strategies and stories that we're going to discuss in this podcast, let me ask you this. Do you have a clear job hunting strategy to get an internship or a full-time job? Most people don't, and it's costing them opportunities. I've helped over 1100 students with their strategies through my ultimate job hunting course.
And trust me, I'm not even kidding. I could see so many recruiters viewing my profile.
And it's been the best investment I've ever made.
The content is incredibly practical, filled with tips and strategies that make you stand out to recruiters.
It was one of the best courses that I have done till date.
This course covers everything that you need to stand out. You will get ultimate resume course, you will get ultimate LinkedIn course, networking strategy, access to 1100 plus job seekers for support, and personal support from me through WhatsApp group. I will walk you through every single step that you need with real examples and the tools that will give you an edge. I don't want you to miss any other opportunity to land your next job or an internship. So check the link in the description. And now I will let you enjoy the podcast. And I know one of the things you had mentioned during the conference was something also which resonated with me and the people over there is figuring out also the which area of product like I mean, I don't know if that is going to be step 4, step 5. If I'm stealing it, please let me know. But the core PM, technical PM, platform PM, integration PM, like there are so many product marketing manager. And also one of the very interesting thing you mentioned is even niching down to the industry like wearable tech, etc. So again, if you are going to
Step
cover this,
4. That's literally step 4 because you're a genius, right? That's why you guys watch Yudi's channel, right? Because he knows, right? And so this is step 4, right? So you're looking at your background, you're building your background, right? You're covering up your basics in PM. Now, the next level up to your unicorn profile is going to be expert in a niche of product management. And so the most important thing here though is to work backwards from the market, because a lot of people, they come to me, they say, I'm going to become a growth product manager niche. I say, who the hell is hiring growth product managers right now? I know I used to. That's where I, kind of had my niche. So I understand why you're coming to me and why you're trying to copy me, but nobody's hiring those right now.
yeah.
Go look at the job listings, there are like 30 growth product manager listings. There are like 30,000 core product manager listings. There are like 10,000 AI product manager listings. There are like 8,000 platform product manager listings. There are like 15,000 platform PM and internal tools PM listings. Okay. Why growth product management? There's no market there. And you should go look at your market, whatever market you are targeting, So if you are targeting, hey, I want to have a job in Bay Area, go look at what are the jobs in the Bay Area. Or I want to have a job anywhere in the US. Or I want to have a job for a US company remote while I'm in India. Well, then go look at those companies and try to understand the market. So that's one side of the Venn diagram. And then your skill set. That's the other side of the Venn diagram. And you want to figure out, okay, what one is at the intersection of those two things, and then how do I enhance my niched profile, right? So we've built out our product management profile by covering things like technical, business, users, design in step 3. Step 4 is how do I build out my niched profile? So, honestly, the niche that is growing the fastest is AI product management. And so most of you listening should be focused on AI product management, okay? And so within AI product management, then you say, okay, how am I going to really stand out as an AI product manager? Well, I should build an AI product. I should truly learn AI content. So in terms of my content diet in step 1, I need to add all of the AI influencers to that list that we did not mention. You need to follow Ruben Hassid. You need to follow Rowan Chung. You need to follow Min Choi. You need to follow Logan Kilpatrick. You need to follow Matthew Berman. These people are setting the agenda for what matters in AI. And so you need to shape your content diet. Then you need to build AI products. You probably need to create a Twitter profile because everything now known as X in AI happens on X. So you need to make sure you are following the people. What happens on X happens on LinkedIn and YouTube 5 days later, happens for the general public 6 months later in terms of AI. Now you're hearing about vibe coding. Vibe coding was a big thing in October of last year on X. Now you're hearing about Claude Code. Claude Code was a big thing on X the day it came out 2 months ago. And so you need to get onto Twitter. And so that's the next area, step 4, is identify your niche and then triple down on your unicorn profile in that niche.
Yeah, and so again, from step 1 to step 4, I'm assuming so you will consume the content, but then you will have to put, like you said, build products. I think this is where most people don't do this part, where they actually don't build the products. They consume, and then they start looking for a job. They miss out on this crucial step. What do you think is the hesitation of building product? Is it because they don't know, they don't have good enough, like they're only looking for textbook problems, they don't have enough, they're not having that product mindset of like, oh, I texted Akash and we went back and forth, instead like I could have just done like a Calendly link or something, and whoa, that's the problem that I should have solved by automating it. How can they start thinking day to day problem solving as a PM?
You just identified it actually in the question itself, which is the most powerful way, which is to identify problems that you're facing in your own life. Now, let's say you are an Indian master student. Do you really want to pay $10 a month for Calendly? Hell no. You can build it for free in Cursor for yourself right now. Save yourself $120 and put something into your PM portfolio and learn more about this AI PM niche and learn more about Cursor. Huge win for you. Or do it better yet in Claude Code, right? And so If you have that approach and mindset that if I want to become a product manager, I have to begin building first, you're going to be much more successful. And like you said, you're actually going to be ahead of 95% of people. 19 out of 20 of the people in your position watching this video are just going to go click when YouTube algorithm has up next for the next video. 1 out of 20 of you are actually going to close YouTube and you're going to open up Claude Code and you're going to start building that Calendly app that we just gave you that perfect idea. And so you want to be one of those 1 in 20 people because, again, the odds are stacked against you. In fact, the odds are stacked against any junior PM, not just you.
Yeah.
Junior PM jobs in general are getting eviscerated. There are very, very few junior PM jobs available, entry-level PM jobs available, because there are thousands of laid-off PMs. You know, people probably don't even know. Someone just messaged me yesterday. He got laid off from Meta. It didn't even make the news. Meta has just had rolling layoffs, just laying off PMs because they're making money for their $1 billion guys in the Meta super intelligence labs.
Right.
Who wouldn't want to have a Meta PM on their team? You know, you get very good training over there in terms of product management.
Yeah.
All these guys are hitting the market, so there's no entry-level product management jobs available. So what you need to realize, if you want to be one of the 5% of people watching this video who are going to get that PM job, is you need to do the work that the 95% are not willing to do.
Love it. I love this. And I think one of the other thing is, and I think this will probably be covered by step 1, but most people also think PM, they also want to become PM because they don't want to do coding, but they don't understand, and they think that PMs are like glorified assistant of managers, etc. They don't even understand what exactly PM's role is, and that's why they can't be the PM, because they don't really understand what is the impact of PM. If you were to like give like a 1-minute answer of like, what do PMs do? Are they really glorified assistant like how the memes are, or they just attend meetings and do backlogs, etc.?
Yeah, so there's 3 types of companies out there in the world. There's companies, which are 50% of companies, where PM is doing both project management and product management out there, okay? These are all your legacy companies, your auto companies, your TCS, anybody like this, right? So you have to manage sprints, you have to do some engineering management work, you need to make sure that there's enough tickets available so that your engineers are busy, you need to help do QA on features, you need to do all the engineering management, and on top of that, you need to do the product management. Now that is what Marty Kagan talks about as the only real product management, but only honestly, I would say 25% of PMs are doing this true product management. And who are those PMs? These are the PMs at the top tech companies, your Google, your Netflix. These types of places, they give you the opportunity to do real product management, where what do? You set the product strategy. You define the metrics that the team is going to go after, the user problems that the team is going to solve, and then you guide the evolution of the solution exploration along with design, engineering, user research, analytics, legal, compliance, privacy, marketing, go to sales, product marketing, CEOs, all those stakeholders. And you get them aligned on a solution. So that is what real true product management is. And then the other 25% of product management is people who have their own flavor of the job. For some people, in very small startups very often, the product manager is kind of the chief of staff to the CEO founder. because they're the real head of product, but you're the first product manager. So any initiative they want to get done, anything like that, your job is really to read their mind and implement it, right? Yeah. Or there's other companies where there's a flavor more like, for example, if you're a product manager at a consulting firm like Boston Consulting Group or something, where the product manager is very involved in selling projects and getting onto the next project and selling themselves internally within the firm. So that's how I'd think about what product management is in a minute.
Love it. I love it. And if they want to watch more, they should check out their podcast. There's a cheeky shout out to your podcast. Hey, before we move on to the next part of the video, I want to quickly talk about our newsletter community, which you can be part of absolutely free. We are now going strong and we have more than 40,000 people in our newsletter community. So imagine 40,000 people are receiving my newsletter every single week, twice a week, where I break down all of the stories that we did and make it a valuable valuable resource for you. So if you're someone who doesn't have time to watch this and you just want to get an email with all of the resources into an email, that is the place to be. I'll put the link in the description. I'll give you some example. This is the one for Tanvi, where how she got 2 co-ops and she paid off her entire master's fees. This is an example of Maya, where she got 3 co-ops and she paid off her fees plus a little bit of savings. Here is an example of Sahil, who got his green card in 3 years. Here is an example where we shared bunch of resources on job hunting. So I promise this is going to be valuable resource for you, and it doesn't cost you anything. If you want to be part of our newsletter community, link will be in the description, or you can go to link.udj.com/newsletter. This is the URL. And now I'll let you enjoy the video. So anyway, step 1 to step 4 is building this profile where you are ready to be inside the market. And I'm assuming step 5, 6, and 7 is going to be marketing yourself. But I'm not going to steal your show. So what is step 5?
Step 5 is to build out your market map of the companies that you want to work at and build out your network within them. So you can send out 25 free LinkedIn connection requests a day. You should personalize each one of these LinkedIn connection requests. I say 1 a day to one company. Let's say you have 100 target companies. So every 4 days, you are rotating back on the 5th day to that first company again, right? And so let's say you want to work, our conference we did at Northeastern in Boston. Everybody wanted to work at Whoop because Whoop is headquartered in Boston. If people don't know what Whoop is this band here. It's a wearable device.
Garmin, but it's okay.
Yep. Garmin is good too. I don't know where they're headquartered. But let's say you want to work at Whoop, okay? So you're going to message, let's say Hillary Girdley, she's the head of product for core product at Whoop, right? So you're going to say something like, hey, I loved your appearance on Lenny's podcast. What you said about women and hiding pregnancies and product really resonated with me as a woman. I would love to connect with you because I am a Whoop user and I love use Whoop. You have 300 characters, and believe it or not, that fits in 300 characters. And so you're going to send out this outreach. And then the second that Hillary responds, you're going to say, oh my God, Hillary, thank you so much. You made my day by accepting my request. I'm really trying to build out my network in product management, and it means a lot to me that you could do that. I have been putting together this PM portfolio that showcases some of the projects that I've been building in step 2 and 3. And if you have any thoughts, I'm always open to them. Boom. Or if you're in the same city as the person, hey, Hillary, I see the Whoop office is in downtown. I really love Phil's coffee across the street. I will buy you a coffee at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Do you want to meet up? And so what you're doing is you're building out your network here of people at these companies so that in next step 6, you go to your target companies. I recommend building an AI agent that checks daily, but you can also do it manually every week. You go to your 100 company job boards and you find the jobs that have just been listed that you're qualified for. And you then go and ask your network for a referral to that job. And you don't just ask for a referral. You say, hey, who is the hiring manager? Who is the team that I'm going to be working with? And then you go and you message that whole team. Some work product. So a work product would be ideally kind of like a Loom video, maybe like a 5-minute Loom video,
interesting,
5 product ideas I have for Whoop as a user of Whoop. And you do your Loom video for them, right? And so you send that around to the hiring manager team. You've got a referral into the job. This is the most important step, guys, because people in your position, what I've found is that 90% of you aren't getting enough interviews. And here's what I mean by enough interviews. Most people take 11 plus interview processes before they get an offer. So you need to make sure that you have a strong funnel of interviews coming so that you are improving your product management interview skills, which gets you to the final step of step 7, which is become amazing at the product management interview. So your buddies that you created in step 2, now you need to go have lots of mock interviews with them. You need to get lots of feedback from them, and you need to take all the feedback you're getting from the interviews you're getting in step 6 to really improve your interview skill, because here's the bare naked truth. Product management is nothing like product management interviewing. And so you need to then improve that skill set on top of the skill set you've been improving in product management itself in steps 3 and 4.
Here's a controversial take. Akash, you never talked about applying. Why?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you made me build this whole profile. I'm gonna start applying to the jobs. Like, what the heck? Like, when do I start applying?
Yeah, it's a waste of your time, honestly. Just get referrals from your network in step 6 for jobs that matter, and then message the whole hiring managing team around it. That's going to be literally, I'm not kidding you, 100 times more effective. Like people are getting, literally, people I work with, they're getting 0.5% response rate on dropping their application. They're getting 50% response rate on this strategy I just taught you. This strategy itself, I think, is worth thousands of dollars, and we've given it to you for free.
Love it. Yeah, amazing. I want to break down. There's like few things that I want to talk about in step 5. First of all, I think there's going to be a mental barrier. Why the heck Hillary would respond to me? I have nothing to offer to her. I'm just like a master's student. I'm just a graduate student. Or even to you, like if they were texting, like you are like 500,000 followers, like why would Akash even like text me? And I get this thing to me when they reach out to me, like I don't think, yeah, they will start with, I don't think you're going to respond to this, or I don't think you will see this, but I'll try anyway. So what is your take on this?
Yeah. So, first of all, number one, target people who will respond. So, the people who will respond, they're typically close to your level. So, maybe they graduated from the same university. Maybe they live in the same town. Maybe they are a similar age. That's the first filter. Second thing is to have value in your message, right? And so the last thing you want to do is say, hey, would you refer me in your very first message, or make an ask to the people, or just say, hey, can I pick your brain so that I can become a product manager? That's not going to add any value whatsoever. And so make sure that you're adding some value. I am a Whoop user, and 3 user problems I've found while using Whoop are or, I polled 6 of my friends who also use Whoop, and all 5 of us agree that we cannot for the heck of us understand what this recovery percentage, how it's calculated. So I think that creating more transparency into how the recovery percentage is calculated is really going to improve people's reception and optimization of recovery. Something like this. We're adding some value to the person. We're not just making an ask. And then finally, sculpt your message. And honestly, even me, I need to improve my messages sometimes. Like I try to get really good guests on my podcast. And when I don't get a guest, I go look at that message. I say, oh, let me make this next message that I send 1% better, and just keep getting better at the art of messaging so that people respond.
So for Whoop, it makes sense if you are a user, but you said like, 100 plus companies. I might not be the user of all the 100 companies. What are some other tactics I can use? Like if I'm not a Apple user, how can I reach
One
out
of the
to them?
best things to do is to build an analysis of sentiment online. So you'll say, hey, I aggregated 300 reviews from G2 on your niche B2B SaaS software that I can't sign up for with an edu email address. And I've found that these are the 5 complaints most mentioned. Number 1 was mentioned in 67 of the 300 reviews, and here's some quotes about some texture around it and even some screenshots that people put. Number 2 was mentioned in 54 of the reviews. Go do half an hour of work when you're going to go message these people, or better yet, train an AI so that you can do it in 20 minutes or 15 minutes, right? And so use whatever you can find. Even what you could do is you could say, hey, I'm not an Apple user, I'm an Android user, but I do know that Yudi uses Apple. So let me, next time I go over to his house for a coffee, ask him a little bit about his Apple experience, and then include that quote. And so it's about finding something in your life somehow that you can add value.
Okay, cool. So now, and I'm talking this from like an Indian culture mindset. We are taught to not talk to strangers. Now, what your Akash is teaching is go and talk to strangers. So we're like, okay, what the heck do I talk? I made this first connection. This person is in, I'm doing my master's in Santa Clara, and this person is in Bay Area. I can go and meet them, but I don't know what exactly do I do when I meet them. What would you like? How would you process that?
Yeah, so there's like three things you want to do in this conversation. Number one is you want to ask a lot of earnest, honest questions. Hey, Hillary, you guys just recently shipped Whoop 5. What was that launch like? Were there any hiccups along the way? Like, oh my God, so you guys actually you lost hundreds of thousands of dollars sending all your Whoop 4 users free Whoop 5s? How did you guys make that decision? That's a very interesting decision. What was it like talking with Ahmad, the founder of Whoop, about that choice when you had decided that would be the right strategic choice? You're asking a bunch of really interesting questions because people love to talk about themselves. And you yourself are on this journey to become a better product manager. So you want to inherently learn about it. So it's going to come across as very honest, very real. It's not going to come across as you ask ChatGPT for a list of 10 questions and then you're coming to her with those 10 questions, right? And then the second thing you want to do in this conversation is you want to drop in some of your own credentials. Because remember, we want them to give us a referral and even tell us who the hiring manager and the team around the role is, right? So we're gonna make an ask to them some point down the line, and so we want to make sure that we show that we are worth something, And so she says, okay, this is what happened with Whoop 5 launch. You say, you know what? In my AI side project that I'm launching, when I launched version 2 of my product, I made some mistakes too. I priced too low and I ended up losing hundreds of dollars because people were using more AI credits than I was charging them for, right? You're sharing some learning, but did you notice? She says, oh, what? You're charging users? Hundreds of customers? You shipped a V2 yourself? Okay, now this is very, very impressive, right? And so she's going to remember that story when you come back to her later. And then the final thing you want to do in this conversation is create the connectivity to stay more connected in the following months. So I know it's probably awkward to you guys to have, 200 plus connections that you're keeping up with, but networking is the way to wealth. And in this scenario where you are facing all the obstacles in this job market compared to the US citizens, you have to do this networking element, right? And so you're going to say, okay, after that conversation, what are the details I can write down about Hillary in my personal CRM, my database of contacts of people at companies about her? Hey, okay, she's having a baby in 3 months, so I'm gonna write that down, right? Maybe after 3 months, I'm gonna message her, hey, I think you probably had your baby now. Congrats so much. It was so nice meeting you 3 months ago, right? You're going to come up with the fodder and you're going to write down that fodder. And then what I call the trigger, right? The trigger is the pregnancy, right? The trigger for you to follow up later.
I love it. So one way to reach out to people is LinkedIn, obviously. And of course, we met, even though I used to follow you, but I never reached out thinking like, oh, you're so big for me. But I got to meet you in person in the conference. Would you recommend students to get involved in in-person events?
350%. I couldn't emphasize it enough. I would say 3.5 times more important than 100%. 350% in the sense that number one, the first extra 100% is you should be actively seeking out these events yourself. The next 100% is you should even consider travel and trips. Let's say, you're in New York, but you heard Yudi and Akash are in Boston. It's, a $20 train ride to go there. You should be actively traveling. The third extra 100% here is that you should organize events, guys. All of you, all 100% of you should organize events. Maybe you organize a meetup for Akash's community or Yudi's community or Lenny's community, or maybe you are at Northeastern, you get involved in the product management club and you help put on the product management conference, whatever it is. And then the final 50% is that when you make these in-person connections like Yudi, you need to make sure that, hey, can I connect with you on LinkedIn? And then the next day, hey, it was so nice meeting you. It was fun talking on stage together, right? You're doing those things so that it truly translates into a connection that you can leverage down the line for a YouTube video.
Yes. You just revealed how I reached out to you. No, just kidding. That's amazing. I also now want to go to step 6 and step 7. But before that, I know there are probably people who are very anxious. Like, Yuri, please ask him. He has hired a bunch of PMs. What do he look for resume? please, like, we need to make the resume. All these things we're going to do, we need to put something in resume. Please ask him that. So how do I, like, give me a masterclass on PM resume?
All right, here's your masterclass on the product management resume. One page, bold metrics, and have a metric in every single bullet point. Remove the months off your resume. Have at least 50% of the resume scream product manager. Not just, hey, he's interested in product management and he's done internships in marketing and supply chain and he has a 4.0 out of 4.0 GPA and he went to good schools. No. Even if that is the case, you need to make sure that visually 50% of it looks like product manager. You have free product manager consulting. You have product manager internship. You have product manager projects. You have product manager courses. At the very top, you say aspiring product manager with 6 months of free product management consulting experience with 3 local startups, right? And so you need to scream product manager and you need to then hit all the product management buckets. And so what you do is you go look at the first few job descriptions that you're looking at. You say, hey, what are they looking for? Oh, they say talking to customers. Make sure you have some elements on talking to customers. They say driving business impact and revenue. You make sure you have some elements on that. After you go through this process of customizing your resume to make sure you have the right keywords on 10 job descriptions, you'll have this amazing base resume. Then you take that base resume and you customize it for each and every role you apply to. So even when you go for a referral and you ask for a referral, you don't actually send them your base resume. You send them a fully customized resume that you literally put the job description on the left half of your computer screen and the resume on your right half of the computer screen, and you should be able to draw the line from every single bullet on the job description to a bullet on your resume so that every single keyword, every single bullet on the resume is now in the job description is now on your resume. So these are the key elements to a resume. The final thing I'll say is have a link to your portfolio and a link to your LinkedIn at the top and make sure that those are heavily optimized.
Love this masterclass. I have a follow-up on masterclass that you are telling me that I should customize resume for every single job that I apply to. That's going to be a lot of time. Why can't I just like spray and pray?
Yeah, I mean, you can, and you'll get, that 0.5% rate, which is what my mentees on average see, 1 in 200 applications. If you want to do my strategy where 1 in 2 applications works, then you can try this alternative approach. And what you'll find is that actually the best jobs, those are always in the 199 you didn't get. And so especially if you're trying to get into the best jobs, you have to do this approach.
Love it. Okay. You also touched on LinkedIn and portfolio. What's like portfolio look like for product managers?
So if you're a master's student, the very first thing you want to do is you want to think about, as you're doing homework, hey, what is the homework that could be interesting for my portfolio, right? And then do an extra good job on that homework and immediately add it to your portfolio. The second thing is you're going to be doing this either free or paid consulting and internships. What are the right projects I can show? What's the feature I shipped? What's the metric impact I can put? You're going to add those in. And then finally, you're going to be building your own apps and side projects. And so you want to add those all into your portfolio, which should exist as a public website. So you should figure out with your internship company, hey, what metrics am I allowed to share? Hey, you don't want me to share that it drove 50,000 in revenue. What if I share it grew revenue 4%? Is that okay? And so you're going to try to get those metrics in on a public website that you can then link from your resume.
And what if you have lost touch with that company or manager is not responding? Can you make an educated guess of like numbers?
I would say no. You don't want to get back channeled and people all of a sudden say, oh, this guy's lying. He's over claiming his impact, because unfortunately, again, the biases are against you. And I'll be honest, most Americans think that Indians lie a lot. I'm so sorry, but it's true also that Indians do lie a lot compared to Americans. Americans are much more truth-telling than Indians. So you need to be very careful of this bias that they have against us. And you need to make sure that you are totally upfront, honest. And so if you don't know, you can just say something like, drove about, put the about sign, 5% growth, or whatever your best estimate is, and put that about word in there or estimated word in there to make sure that it's caveated and nobody thinks they're exaggerating.
Okay, love it. LinkedIn, how important is that, and how do I use it if I want to get opportunities?
So, especially if you were a software engineer before your master's degree or you were a product manager before your master's degree, it's very important. If you have no credentials that a product management hiring manager is going to care about, then it's not as important, but it is still important. So no matter what, it's important, but it's like 10 out of 10 important if you could potentially drive some inbound from it. Like, let's say you're going to Harvard Business School for your MBA and you were a software engineer at Tata Consultancy Services and you're president of your product management club. Yeah, then for sure, your LinkedIn could drive recruiters reaching out to you.
Yeah.
You know, personally, I did my MBA at Wharton. Google just reached out to me because of my LinkedIn, and that's how I got a PM internship at Google. And so you need to think very, very carefully about your LinkedIn. You need to have a really optimized title. You need to have an about me. You need to have a really good experience section, recommendations, skills. And you probably also need to have a couple pieces of content there that have done well. So holistic LinkedIn optimization is very important.
Love it. And so this is our funnel in case if even though we are recommending people to do networking, in case if they do apply online. I love what you said is creating that Loom video to when you reach out. It's a 5-minute or 10-minute product breakdown. Here are the 5 features. How can you give like a more example, like detailed example of this?
Yeah. So the one example I gave at first was like 5 product ideas from a Whoop user. That's like literally a piece of YouTube video almost, right? Like it's well packaged. It's exactly clear, has good copywriting, like 5 things. Then you're going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's product management related. So user problems, product managers love those. User feedback, product managers love those. Review of software, you know what, a lot of people who create Loom videos back in the day when I was helping people with growth product management, growth product managers always have to work on onboarding. So what we do is we'd go through the onboarding of the app and we would say, hey, I'm going to record a Loom video. I've gone through your onboarding on 2 other accounts, but here's a 3rd account just so that I can make some comments about your onboarding, right? And so on this first screen itself, you know, when I was doing my free consulting for local X startup, we actually added 3 more sign up methods. So we added sign in with Google, sign in with Amazon, sign in with Apple, and we found a 15% uplift in signups. Like, you know, then you go to the next screen. So on this next screen here, you actually jump into the quiz about people. But you know, one of the things I've noticed is that you can actually build with AI to assume a lot of this context in order to pre-fill these fields. And so we actually did the same thing at this startup here that I was talking about, and we improved our funnel conversion rates by 35% just by adding in these AI presets. Now it does cost a little bit of money. It costed us roughly 9 cents per API call per person, but that 30% more than paid off for us, right? So again, look at all this knowledge you're dropping. You're walking through their product. You're talking about your own experience, right? And so that's an example. Whatever it might be, think about it as less than 5 minutes. The free version of Loom is only up to 5 minutes. And I think that's a great limiter actually, because most people don't watch longer Loom videos anyways. So just use the free version of Loom and say, how can I drop some value? Maybe, you know, you've built an AI agent to analyze their customer feedback. You know what? People hate just seeing the result of an AI agent, but what you can do is you can say, I've had my AI agent develop this, and then I've further refined it. Critical important step. Here are my findings, right? And so whatever it might be, you want to create some sort of value for them. And it's not from you, right? A lot of people will often create a Loom video. It's like, here's my side project. I'm amazing. That is not what they want to see. That's what we call a pitch slap. We don't want to pitch slap them. We want to add value.
And I know we talked about interviewing, and I think this is where I would recommend people to watch the video that you've done on interviewing. I mean, you've done multiple, but the one specifically one with the, I forgot her name, but she wrote
Nancy Lee.
Oh yes, yeah. So it's a great video. Like people should watch that. But I want to talk about AI. Is AI going to take over PM's job?
Hell no. And I think the demise of product management is greatly over exaggerated. In fact, more likely is what Andrew Ng said. So Andrew Ng is one of the top AI people, period. You know, he is considered by everybody like one of the godfathers of AI, okay? And especially AI education. And here's what he said. You know, because of the great capabilities engineers have gotten from Cursor and Claude Code, and to a lesser extent, and not really GitHub Copilot, engineers can do so much these days.
Yeah.
It used to be that you'd have one PM for 10 engineers, and that was fine, you know, because, you know, to be honest, like even PMs like me, I used to support even 40 engineers because, you know what, engineering just took forever to build a feature, just took too much time, you know. It was, especially at a big company like a firm, you know, I would create a feature and a design and 7 months later it would hit production, right? It would just take God's long time.
Yeah.
Nowadays, that 7 months has become like 7 hours. Engineers have become like 100x more efficient. And so now they're saying, hey, instead of a 1 PM 10 engineer ratio, what about a 1 PM half engineer ratio? 2 PMs for 1 engineer.
Wow.
Right? Because right now what's happened is that AI can't fundamentally be loaded up with all the context to understand what is your company's strategy, what are the user problems, what does sales want, what does go-to-market want, what does privacy say, what does legal and compliance say, what does our CEO, most importantly, want to build. It at this moment is very far from being able to manage all those stakeholders in order to say, hey, this is what we should build. Let alone, once you align on the problem, hey, here's exploring the solution, building a prototype, putting that prototype in front of users, iterating on that prototype with my designer and my user researcher, and creating something that is actually worth putting into the product, right? We are in the golden age of the feature factory. Anybody can build 1 million features into their product. Products could easily get bloated with thousands of features, but the products that win are damn simple. They have not too many features.
Yeah.
And so it's really about that half engineer that you're directing, making sure that they're not just loading it up with a bunch of garbage features, but the features that you create are beautiful, simple, elegant, user prototyped to help people do their job to be done. You know, a lot of people keep asking me, hey, how did Lovable hit like 80 million ARR so fast?
I saw that.
I believe 6 months, like beat out Bolt, beat out V0, beat out Replit. You know what? It's simpler than those competitors, right? So there's beauty and simplicity, but that only comes if you can align Anton, the CEO, the sales and go-to-market team, and everybody else on, hey, we're only going to go for this little niche group, but we're going to be the best at doing it for them, and we're going to create this simple solution, and we're not going to build these 100 other things, we're going to build this. And so actually, the product management skill set is becoming more than ever important than ever. In fact, the biggest segment of my followers and newsletter subscribers these days is engineers, because they're
Interesting.
realizing they need to build up the product management skill set themselves. The constraint is no longer coding. And in the future, the constraint won't be design. But there will always be this constraint around coordinating people and building strategy, which a PM will have to do.
Yeah. And that follows the question, how do I become AI PM? But before you answer that, can anybody become AI PM? Do you need AI credentials? Like if I'm a mechanical engineering pursuing industrial masters or some masters in industrial engineering, but now I heard this podcast and I was like, okay, I've got my 7-step roadmap. I want to be AI PM. Can I become AI PM?
Anybody can become an AIPM. Teacher, hockey player, former competitive gymnast, Spanish major, whatever it is that you are learning, you can become an AIPM, because you know what? AI is creating one of the most meritocratic environments out there, where, you know, you see these people pulling in $1 billion pay packages. Alexander Wang of Scale AI, $15 billion pay package, and he didn't even graduate college. $15 billion. Can you imagine? Now you can earn $150,000, believe me. You can get that $150,000 pay package.
Yeah.
And so you're doing your master's. You didn't drop out, right? And so what you need to do though is you need to realize that AI rewards people who really understand and are living and breathing AI. So those elements of having that AI Twitter account we talked about, following the right people in AI Twitter, building your own AI products, consulting for an AI company. If you build those 4 things, you're ahead of 99.9% of people watching this podcast. And so you'll be able to break in.
And is it that all the other PMs are now almost going to be an AI PM because there's going to be an element of AI everywhere?
Yes and no.
Mm.
So every PM will become AI powered. They need to use AI prototyping tools. They need to use AI PRD, AI strategy feedback, AI meeting note takers.
Mm.
All of these, very well known use cases of AI to improve their work. And for the most part, even if you're an experimentation or an internal tools PM, you'll need to build AI into your product. I was talking to an experimentation PM. So he runs the experimentation platform at a company, right? Normally people would say, oh, he wouldn't be an AI PM. Actually, he had a genius use case because he is an AI PM. He said, hey, everybody writes their PRDs differently. Everybody has a different hypothesis, and nobody wants to go and input their hypothesis into my system in the way I need it. I could build an LLM to process their PRD to create a draft input hypothesis for them. And he found that he was able to take the hypothesis fill rate of his internal tool from 40% to 95% with this LLM feature that he launched. That's how being an AI PM, even if you're an internal tools, even if you're a platform PM, can help you. So most PMs will have to build AI features. But then there are, just some PMs like I'm a privacy PM or I'm a PM on this other thing, maybe you'll have an AI issue here and there, an AI feature here or there in 10, 20% of your job, but some of it will just be normal PM work, and that's okay. And this AI PM trend, to be honest, I think it's gotten too overhyped. And so that's why I think I'm one of the few newsletters who still talks about regular PM topics. I look at everybody else, I'm like, all you're talking about is AI PM, but that doesn't represent everybody. I coach a lot of PMs as well. And a lot of them, they're like a PM of credit analytics at Capital One or at Mahindra Bank, right? Those people, there's no AI in their job at all yet. And that's
But I think
completely fine.
they are AI powered though, or they are at least going to be an AI powered, which is a great distinguish which people assume using an AI tool is AI PM.
Yes, 100%. And sadly, like both those two examples I gave, like their companies haven't even bought them a ChatGPT license, hasn't bought them a Lovable license. So they're not even AI powered yet, but eventually their companies will turn around when they get new product leadership who understands what actually drives successful product management, which is that.
Yeah, man, this is gonna be like one of my favorite podcast episode because I feel like hopefully people are taking notes and implementing this, and there's so much of gold mine here for aspiring product managers. Final question I have is maybe second to final question is there are lots of software engineers in my community, data analyst or these other roles who wants to pivot their career. What is is their roadmap also same 7 step, or is there any additional step they can show that how do they pivot, like, or how do they translate their current experience?
So we actually covered it integrated into the steps. We had the wild card of your
Mhm.
3-step unicorn profile, right? So you usually have the coding step down or the data analysis step
Mm,
down. But what don't you have usually is like the business sense that's
mhm.
often very often missing, or the ability to talk to users. A lot of people are
Mhm.
shy.
Yep.
And so you need to make sure that you are covering your weaknesses.
Mm,
Flip your weakness into strengths.
mm,
People are going to be biased against you. Hey, they see, okay, he's a software engineer. Okay, I think he's going to be shy. Maybe you need to go to Toastmasters. Maybe you need to go to some clubs to work on your public speaking, your interview presence, so that as soon as they walk in the interview, oh my God, this is
mm,
the rare engineer that's really good with people, right?
mm,
Flip your weaknesses into strengths. So we covered part of that in the how you do it. And then the second thing we talked about is 50% of your resume has to scream
mm.
product manager. Your LinkedIn has to scream product manager. Your portfolio has to scream product manager. And so even if it's the case that you have very impressive things in data analysis, that should be a very small portion of what you're putting out there into the world.
Yeah, gotcha. Love it. What's the final advice to all the international students who are watching? What's the one thing would you want to say, tell them? They are obviously aspiring PMs.
You don't need to just go to Harvard to become a product manager. Whatever school you're at, Northeastern, Western Michigan University, I've helped people from everywhere become a product manager, but you need to realistically scale your expectations, right? If you're not at a top school, you're not breaking into big tech. Sure, you can go ahead and apply, but it is very unlikely. Now, if you are at a middling school, then you need to understand, okay, I can probably break into a middling tech company. If you are at a lower end school, you're going to have to break into a lower end company. I'm sorry, it's true. But what is a lower end company? It doesn't mean it's a bad job. You know, these jobs often pay 150,000 plus dollars, which is a great amount of money, much more than you will earn back in India, right? You know, your PMs in India earning like 30 lakhs. 30 lakhs versus 150,000, you're literally making more than 10x, right?
Yeah.
And so if you want to earn that $150,000 salary at a local startup, you know, that's a low tier PM job, but you can break in even if you have a low tier school, like, you know, unfortunately Northeastern is. And so then what you want to do is you want to say, okay, how do I identify these companies where I can actually break in? And then how do I go above and beyond, right? So like, you know, the funny thing is with these local startups, nobody is using the techniques I just told you. Nobody's getting a referral. Nobody is pinging the hiring manager. Nobody is creating a 5-minute Loom video about the product. And so if you just go ahead and take those 3 steps, you'll be ahead of everyone.
Yeah.
And that's how you'll break in.
Nice. Love it. Awesome. Obviously, people know how to find you, but I'll put links in the descriptions for people to find you. I can't wait to do this one more time or multiple times. I know you will be there in Bay Area sometime soon, so hopefully I get to meet you again in person or in some conference. Who knows? But we'll keep in touch.
You're the man, honestly. I love your content. I love watching it. So it was really an honor. Thanks for having me.
Yes, awesome. Again, Akash, thank you so much for this gold mine. I am super excited. Can't wait to bring you back. But until our next one.
Keep smiling, keep hustling.
Nice.